Wargamer Online, the home of wargaming.
Here we are. Hello and welcome to Monday Musing 63. Yeah, we'll go with 63. Could be 64. I'm going to say hello to people in the chat, but before I do, I am going to introduce these wonderful people over to my right. Yeah, my right. Over to my right, we've got Ralph Hummel joining me from France.
Hi guys.
And Coleman coming all the way from the north of England.
Hey up.
Beautiful bit of northern accent. Before we get too far into the show, I just want to thank Vaughan and Derpimus Maximus, who both joined in an experimental chat room as we were getting this show ready. So it was lovely to actually have some voices put to all the typing in the chat at the side of the screen for all of these years. So it's been fantastic to actually put some voices to those, and it was lovely to meet you both, so thank you very much for helping out. Other than that, what's tonight's show about? Well, we're just talking Warhammer. We've got a few things to talk about. I want to have a look at, we've spent a bit of time over the last couple of weeks upgrading the website. We've upgraded the hosting, and I've had a massive purge of getting all content up to date, and we are now full steam ahead on releasing the premium content that we've been filming for the last 3.5 months. So we've had a backlog of premium that I've not released. Thank you to everybody who's continued to support on premium. It makes a massive difference, and it's enabled us to move over to the hosting, which has really improved the show, so really improved the website. We'll be having a look at that because along with the website getting much faster, the forum is a lot faster as well now. So it would be lovely to see some people back posting on the forum, and you know, bringing all that exciting hobby content. So much so that I think I'm going to make it a regular slot of Monday Musings to pop over to the forum and maybe have a look at my favorite post or something like that. So a little bit of shout out for people who are putting great content up on the forum. Furious George has said Phil's looking more like a mountain man than usual today. Okay, I should explain. I had an operation on my spine on Tuesday, so it was 50-50 whether I was going to even do a show today. I'm still feeling quite delicate, and I was doing brilliantly until I accidentally reversed into a kitchen worktop just half an hour or so ago. So I've been in quite a bit of pain, and I went into a little bit of shock, and I was shivering a bit, so I've put a nice warm fur top on to keep me warm. But hopefully everything's going to be fine, and the blinding agony I'm currently suffering won't impact your enjoyment. Right. You guys have just been good there and getting on with your hobby, aren't you? Ralph, are you pretending your screen's frozen again?
Absolutely not.
The other thing we're going to talk about is myself and Coleman managed to meet up along with a whole bunch of wonderful people from the hobby at ChillCon this weekend as well. And due to me having a spine operation recently, my wife actually drove me along, so she got you know, neck deep in hobby goodness, and it was quite fun having her along. The utter look of amusement and confusion on her face. But she did remark as we were driving home what a lovely bunch of people this community is. She was saying everyone was so friendly and everyone was so chatty, and so she actually, strangely enough, and I think this surprised her more than myself, she really enjoyed the day. So she's not going to start painting models. That's never going to happen. But she at least enjoyed the day, and I might be able to get her along to some more of the events. And we met Coleman there, of course, and his wonderful son, and we chatted hobby.
Yearly date.
Our yearly date together. So we've got some stuff. I brought a couple of things back from ChillCon. I didn't get a lot because I was only there for an hour and a half. I couldn't stand for long for said back issues. So I picked up a couple of incredibly amazing things, of which I've got on my desk, and in fact you can see some of them scattered about there as well. We'll be talking a little bit about ChillCon, a little bit about what was going off there, and the wonderful people like Judge Gudge and Elster Nation, and yeah, the wonderful Moggy, the big beautiful bear of the hobby world, Moggy McGee. Right, okay then, let's say hello to people on the chat. I need to move my mic slightly out of the way. So Vaughan and Derpimus, I've mentioned, is in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. We've also got Tim Lawrence saying hello. Hello, Tim. Good to see you in the chat, sir. DJ Lucky One's in. Bod76 is in. Joe Miller is in, saying hello from Texas. Hello, Texas. Furious George saying, oh, the Mountain Man comment. Dave Dog. Where is the new co-host from? I was raised up north like real men, such as Jon Snow. So, can you give a region, Coleman? Are you happy with that? You don't want people, you don't want fans tracking you down?
I'm currently residing in
beautiful Yorkshire. And it is beautiful Yorkshire. Dave Collier says, hi guys, hope all is well. Bod76 says, Tormund Giant's Bane cosplay when? Oh, I don't think I understand any of that. So, fill me in. Give me more information. Neil's joined us just in time. He's just restarted painting 40k miniatures after a few weeks break. Well, Neil, it's good to see you back. Get some painting done. What have you been doing? And Daryl's is in there. Any excuse for posting more photos? I'll resurrect my painting logs. Thank you very much, Daryl. I unboxed that No Fear box, assembled some interceptors and mold lines on those are simply awful. Where do they mold those kits? The No Fear, that was one of the starters, wasn't it? They're not great, are they, the mold lines on those things? And I should imagine they really, you know, use the molds quite a lot as well. Joel's saying hello, wow, dedication. Moogie Pie, well, that ain't me. Derpimus Maximus just got back from making toast because I'm hardcore like that. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. I tell you what, from now on, CM says Chillcon was great. I think I saw you a couple of times, Phil, but you were in conversation. And then I was a man on a mission. Mr. CM, I can't believe it. That's Carl Molson, isn't it? You should have said hello, mate. But, you know, you can interrupt conversation because I pretty much guarantee 99% of what I was saying was waffle. So next time, come over and just say, Phil, I know you're talking nonsense. Come and introduce yourself again. For time to start my betrayal of Calfbox. So, whole bunch of people getting some hobby done tonight, which is perfectly fine, because that's kind of what we're up to, isn't it? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut up a little bit, and I'm going to throw Ralph onto the main screen, and Ralph's going to tell you what he's been working on.
Well, Kill Team. What else? I've actually managed to finish my AdMech Kill Team. And I've got my commander build, my Mega Stellar Thrust, which I've posted on the Facebook page. Not to the forum yet, I'm afraid. It will be there sooner or later.
We can probably get some time to look at that.
And I've just started work on my on a unit of infiltrators to complement that and slowly build towards a full 40k army out of my AdMech Kill Team.
Nice.
That's pretty much it.
And Coleman, I tell you what, let's throw you up there. I know you're working on some cool stuff.
It might happen, it may not. I can't show you anything because it's
I can. I'm going to bring you up while you chat away, so I'm just going to pop along to the forum.
It's all back to a heap of bits because I've started sub-assembly painting, so I've done some floorboards.
Nice. Well, I'm just bringing it up full screen at the moment. Tell me what this is, because I'm not a Free People's... Jack knows. Jack spotted it straight away and said it was one of the most beautiful bits of hobby conversion he's seen in a long time. Because this is what, an Arcanium?
So it's a Hurricane, the Celestial Hurricane, which I'm converting with bits of the steam tank. So I got rid of the horses. Because horses are not dwarfish enough. Steam power is. I had a slight oversized problem because I want to keep it on the illegal Hurricane base, which is 120 mil. So the first try, I had just basically joining them together. I was getting, I think, three centimeters too long. But I did not. But just by getting rid of one of the axles on the tank's base, I've managed to shorten it just enough. And yeah, I got to the point where I need to start basically gluing it together, but I know that I won't be able to get into nooks and crannies. So I took it all apart again. Did base spraying yesterday and started painting, which is gonna take me a while because I am slow.
So from the images on the forum, when I'm seeing the cut down version here now.
Yes. Yeah.
When I'm looking at that, so I've got the 3 axles rather than the 4. You've now sub-assembled that for painting, have you? So you've taken the side walls off. Is there a roof that fits on top of that or anything, or is that how you plan to have it?
Yes. So there is this part that normally on the steam tank, that's the deck, and then there's the little turret that comes on top. I'm thinking I should be able to cut it,
just
halfway.
Like yeah.
Just so I've got that front covered.
Yeah.
And then through that opening at the front, I might be able to use this part from the Luminac just to stick it out instead of the steam gun.
Love it. Love it.
What else? Obviously, there will be the hurricane part with the big spinning orbs and things like that. That will come on top of the roof of the cart. I'm still not quite sure whether I would keep these as they are or replace them with those cast end rings, but I'm not convinced about the end rings now. I think they're too big, and my casting was not too great, so I might keep them.
You kind of press molding those, were you?
Maybe one day. So yeah, that's the plan for now. There is a lot of stuff in that set because obviously from the same box you can build either the Hurricane or the Luminac of Haish. So amount of spare and optional little dirhams is absolutely staggering. So there will be, I'll see what I can do with that. I've got some ideas of how to make it appear more dwarfish as well. It would seem, I can attach bits, even things I've got left from gyrocopters. I already had a little try of it, and I've got ideas. Which of them will work, we'll see. It's the first conversion in my life.
Is this literally your first conversion? I'm impressed, mate. I'm impressed because that is quite an ambitious conversion. Normally, I think when you first start converting, it's difficult to find that balance. I like to see, looking through the forum, it's interesting to see the process you went through of this doesn't work, and you've kind of got it down to something that really works. And I actually think, I know you're trying to get it to fit on the base size, and that was the driving factor to kind of losing that 4th axle. But I actually think you've got something that looks nicer now because of it.
I do think so, yeah. I agree. And going back, when I say first, I do lie a little bit because I did stick to hammered Stormcast arms onto I think might have been the Cogsmith, just so I could have thought ordinate simple. So
right.
It's
okay.
officially my second.
Well, I tell you what, before we move on, Ralph, I'm going to go over to the Facebook page in a second so we can have a look at your latest works. I'm wonderfully impressed with what's been going off on the Mechanicum side of stuff. But before we do go over to that, I'm just going to call back up, if I can get the right button. Here we go. So this is what I've been working on. I've just started to keep a hobby blog for my Iden of Deepkin for the tournament. So I've started a 2019 doubles Iden of Deepkin post on the forum. And interestingly enough, unlike the Facebook post, I've spelled Deepkin correctly because Jack pointed out I'd called them Feepkin. But you know, I've got big thumbs and those buttons are tiny on my phone, so what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? You know, and in this, I'm talking about, you know, the color scheme for the Nightmare for my Voltornos. There's a little bit going off in there. I'm sure you've all seen this now. This is me trying to make the Voltornos model a bit more impressive by wrapping the Nightmare around this column. But now the building is complete on that, and I've been occupying myself a little bit. I've been having fun painting little stripy snakes and stuff like that. I've had a lot of fun with that. But at the same time, I've sort of moved on now to the two Gloomtide shipwrecks. My main concern about having two Gloomtide shipwrecks, you've got to be very careful saying those words together, is I didn't want them to be the same. I didn't want two identical bits of terrain on. So my first gut feel for this, and as you can see, there's elastic bands all over the place. I simply broke off I didn't even sculpt the base on, and decided if I can just tip one of the ships on its side, that's a step forward, because I've got one upright, one on its side. And the idea was it creates like a little cave that I can have some fun with, because I can have some little weird sea creatures coming out from this sort of cave. I was quite happy with it. It progressed quite well. One of the things that sort of ruined the cave effect was the fact that obviously this is a model that's used to sitting on its base, so I ended up with a lot of space and a lot of light showing through, and that's not what I wanted. So I set about press molding a bunch of planks and excuse me, sort of filling the gaps out basically, and I wanted to kind of follow the detail. I think somewhere amongst all of this there is a picture. Okay, I'm completely going in the wrong direction, so let's just go back. There's a picture here where I've sculpted more planks on, but also the next thing I was doing was messing around with lighting kits. So at the moment this is just, there's nothing more going off than the hiding of the battery packs here. So whilst it looks like I've positioned the lights, all I've done is thread the wires through and dump the light down roughly where they're going to be. But each one of those sets has got 20 lights on. The good news is you can cut them down to the amount you want. So each half is probably going to have 3 or 4 lights maximum. So I will be cutting off 16 of the lights, which is good news for the battery time, because they'll last forever. And at the same, certainly last for the whole tournament without having to change the batteries. And my intention is to, you know, 3D print a little clear resin lantern and try and get one of the lights on the inside of the lantern, so the lantern's lighting up. And then use some of the metallic paints to reflect the light back and block the light, so there's some solidity to the lantern. It's just the glass windows showing. This is where I'm going with all of those. But this is indeed the last of the building I need to do for my shipwrecks. Once the shipwrecks are done, and once I'm happy with the positioning of all the weird little sea creatures, and the basing and all the rest, then I will be moving on to painting my army in time for the end of June tournament. But I'm pretty pleased. I've got the battery packs to hide away. Excuse me, I've got dry throat tonight. I've got the battery. It's because I had breathing apparatus down my throat during the operation, and it's ruined my throat. I'd never sing again, Ralph. So there you go.
Sure.
There you go. And I'm trying to bring everybody back on, and they're refusing to come back on. There they are. Moogie Pie says, hope to see you at the doubles. Just need to find a partner myself this time. Well, this is the great place to ask for it. If anybody wants to double with Moogie Pie at the tournament on the 30th of June, then get in touch through Wargamer Online community on Facebook. He's looking for a doubles tournament, 1,000 points, Age of Sigmar models. That's all you need. I may even have someone who can play with you, because I'm not 100% certain. Mike is planning on, for those of you who remember Magic Mike from back in the day, Mike is planning on joining us, but I'm not sure he's got a doubles partner. So there's a possibility you can get to play with Magic Mike. Not that I'm volunteering Magic Mike, he may have ideas by now, but you know, all things said, caveat applied, terms and conditions, etc. In comes Ralph, and Ralph, what are we talking about with you now?
You know, my Magus? You know?
Should we see if I can find your Magus? Did you post it on the community? Yeah, you just keep talking for a second. Tell us how long you've been working on this Magus nonsense for a while. You
know, I'm a speed painter, so it only took me about 4 weeks to get it done. for one model. So, which is pretty good for my kind of speed. To be fair, you know, I've been known to work on a unit for 2 months. 5 guys, so you know, pretty happy about it. But to be honest with you, I've started work on the infiltrators on Friday, and they're all built, they're all primed. 2 of them are already almost fully base coated. So I've got high hopes that by the end of the week, next week, sorry, they'll be done. We'll see.
Okay, well, I've got your Magus up on screen. He's sitting pretty. Moogie Pie's just pointed out I actually played against him with his Nagashi in the 5th round of the last game. So, sorry. Did I mention I'm on serious painkillers post-operation? And I've got the memory of a Sith. So, yes, of course, we've met. It'd be good to see you again, mate. I'll never play the clarinet again. Right, I've got your Archmagos.
Yep, it's a Magos.
It's a Magos, not an Archmagos.
It's just a Magos.
He's just a Magos. Come on then, tell us the most challenging aspect of this thing.
It was the very first miniature painted in sub-assemblies because it would be absolutely impossible to get to all the details on the arms. You know, there's so many tubes hanging out of this guy and mechandendrites and that sort of stuff. So I actually painted him in pieces. And fitting those pieces together so you won't see where it's being glued down in the end was quite nifty. Also, I wanted to do the robes with my paintbrush, with my airbrush, sorry. And they are actually most of the paint job on the robes are done with the airbrush. So it took me a while to figure it out how to put it together, and then I've played around with some OSL effects on the top carapace armor, which was I'm happy with it for a first go. I'm pretty happy with it, dude. To be honest.
Hand-painted OSL or airbrushed OSL? If I
that's hand painted. Yeah. That's glazed in OSL. Yeah.
So you were glazing in, yeah. Nice work. I can actually see in the image I'm showing now. I can actually see that from the weird little green fluid bottle. Yeah.
Yep. For me, that's some kind of radioactive stuff that keeps him going. So I thought, you know, an OSL effect would be nice.
Yeah, I think the images on the Facebook are a bit flat. There's not a lot of contrast in there, so
yeah, I've had trouble with my camera, but I've sorted those out now, so I'm gonna take more pictures of it before it goes up on the forum.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
I've just noticed that your audio mic is absolutely massive for some reason there, which is weird because I haven't altered it. And then I swear I just heard the words "rusty spoon" drift over my earphone as well. Well, Coleman, was that you, or is someone?
I think it was.
No, rusty spoons appeared on the chat. I just tried to suggest that he puts it on the forum.
Okay, fine. I heard the words "rusty spoon" drift across the microphone. I was thinking, have we been hacked? Which would be exciting in its own right, because let's face it, it'd be a hack from a lovely hobby person. So there'd be no harm in it anyway, would there? So, right. Okay. Well, it's looking good, Mr. Hummel. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm really impressed with the work you've been doing. I actually, you know, while you're there, I am just going to, or while I'm on Facebook, I'm just going to pull up a couple of bits of work. If anybody's not been on the Wargamer Online community for a while, there's been some stunning work. Paul Collier's, let me see if I can pull this up, 2 seconds.
Ooh. Yeah,
Paul Collier's Stormwolf, I think is what it's called. Stunning work. He's done a sterling job with this. It looks absolutely beautiful. You know, get that base done though. I know you got lights on it, which, you know, kudos for lights, because lights are cool. But at the same time, let's see that base done. If it's not already done, I've just embarrassed myself because you have posted with the base up or something, but we'll see. And then there was, I think Martin Dix is working on his Vampire Blood Bowl team, and there's some lovely early work going off in terms of blending on the clothing there. So I was pretty damn impressed with that. Corey Hamilton has been doing his converted Nurgle demon prints, which is sweet as. What a great model. I've seen quite a few demon prints conversions over the time. Jack's done one which was quite pretty. I really love what you did with the wing positioning there. So yeah, he looks like the boss. Very impressed with that. And I'm trying to think what else we've had on there. Jez has been working on a bunch of 20mm models. Yeah, the whole thing confuses me, as in they look great, but they're just 20mm. How's that going to work in 40k? That's bad. They are really nice, so go along and take Jez's work out. But and as Daryl's been posting as well, and he's been working on his intercessors, looking very cool. Lovely black work on the paint scheme. But I'm still trying to find the one I'm looking for, which is there. Mr. CM himself, Carl Molson, who has been a man after my own heart, has been working how to create nice, sneaky, fishy dudes without the use of too many flying bases. I don't know whether you're trying to replace all of them in their entirety. I might do a mixture. My favourite by far is the one you've done here. Rest assured, Carl, I will be stealing that very idea, because I've got 2 of those spare at least, so I'm definitely nicking that idea. I've already nicked that idea without realizing you've done that idea, because I've been 3D printing columns out. So that idea has been thoroughly stolen, if not unintentionally. The tridents I'm not nicking. I'm going to stick with our weapons, but I know Carl's looking for somebody to 3D print him or to design him some cool tridents. But wonderful work with the Iden of Deepkin there as well on the chat. And then I think the last thing I posted this weekend was this wonderful battle against Jack, where I was taking on 1500 points of Flesh Eater Corpse versus 1500 points of Fire Slayers. This unit here was interesting. This is 40 ghouls behind the new Aberrant King, I think he's called, and some other little dude here doing some snizzle. He was definitely up to something. Then these guys over here, who I completely underestimated, and then I had 20 guys at the back, and you know, I really foolishly took 2 Magmadroths. I constantly complain about how underpowered Magmadroths are, and took 2 of them along for a giggle. And then I had 30 Fire Slayer unit of and I charged into that unit of 40, thinking, you know, if anybody's going to take out 40 ghouls, it's 30 pretty angry Fire Slayers on the charge. Rammed them in there. You know, I think I killed 4 on the charge with the sling shields. I killed a further 14 in combat. So I was pretty pleased with that. That was pretty filthy, you know, 30 dudes ramming into 40 dudes. So I removed exactly 20. It turns out I needed to remove 21 because at 20 he still got +1 attack. And he'd also cast some schnizzly spell, which gave him +D3 attacks. So that moved each one of his individual 20 ghouls up to 6 attacks each. So it's 120 attacks out of 20 models. No, wait, yeah, 120 attacks out of 20 models, is that right? Yes, I've done my math right. And guess what? Guess what was the funny bit? The funny bit is he can attack twice with 1 unit for free every turn. So 240 attacks out of a 20-man unit, piling in twice. There goes. Hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, but we're talking Jack's dice. You know, I think he rolled 1-1, you know, which, you know, he discarded. Of course he did. So yeah, 30 Flyer Slayers. I had 2 left at the end of the turn, so 28 were killed. And luckily I'd chosen the rune that meant I was immune to battle shock. So those 2 guys continued to hold those 20 guys up. And all I could do, it was an interesting game. All I could do was try and slam both Magmadroths in there, but I was intercepted by a zombie dragon. My Rune Father made it in there, and believe it or not, actually finished, along with the Fire Slayers, and along with, of all things, a Rune Smiter on foot, managed to finish those 20 guys off. And, you know, the Rune Father had got 2 wounds left at the end of it. The last 2 remaining Fire Slayers were gone. The Rune Smiter was gone, so I'd got 1 guy with 2 wounds left, of which he like staggered to one side and simply got, you know, killed very, very effectively. So an interesting game on all counts, but I had a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed the game, but Jack said he's never going to play his ghouls again.
I think you got tired of rolling the dice.
He was doing them. Luckily, we've got piles of dice from doing the battle reports, so he did them in batches of 40. So he only had to roll 40 dice 6 times. So yeah, no, the whole game just flew by. I think I got 3. It's 2 or 3 models at the end of turn 3. At the end of turn 3, I think I got 2 models left. But I had got ahead on points, so he did have to still work it. I mean, he removed me on turn 4, and then turn 5 was about him getting some runs in. Because I'd pinned down some of his big units and held them up from the first 3 turns of the game, I was getting cumulative wins on some of the objectives. So even though I'd moved off the objective, in turn 4 I still scored 4 points off an objective he'd not managed to get to. But yeah, exactly. But the last turn he managed to get everything, and he'd been clocking up some of the points. And I think the game finished on, I was on 28 points to 41. So,
yeah, but it just shows you that AOS is not the easy game to play if you've got a very killy army.
Yeah.
Because you need to play you need to play for victory points, and that's what a lot of players don't get about AOS. I've had the discussion at my local club the other day.
Well, he was very close to a draw, and if he'd have failed, he had to make 4 run rolls in the last turn to get over to some objectives. And if he'd have failed, I think he failed one of them, not a failed run, but a 1 or a 2. He needed 4s, 5s, and 6s to cover some distance, and he used He used 1 remaining command point he had to guarantee a distance, but he still had to make a couple of rolls.
I've been there before myself, where I had tens of my initial list left on the table, and I will win the game because I did manage to rank up the bomb on the objectives.
Yeah,
which is a very satisfying feeling.
And that running was all done in turn 4. I was off the table by turn 4, but he needed to get to them on turn 4, so he earned the 1 point in turn 4 and the 2 points in turn 5. Because you got to put, it's cumulative for the amount, and he couldn't afford to get to them at turn 5 because he dropped 2 points. So he had to get onto them, and as it happened, he made decent run rolls. Of course he did. It's Jack, and he got onto those objectives. But it was close at one point. He was sat there going, "I don't think I can do this," and we were. He literally killed 2/3 of a unit, because he charged between my 2 remaining units, and he sent 3 after one and 1 after the other, and in the pile-in intentionally split them apart. And he had to remove 3 of the 4 models, leaving the 1 remaining so he could capture that objective on that side of the table to earn the points. Otherwise, he actually wouldn't have had enough points. So he had to split his unit and intentionally remove 3 models. But by then, I was no real threat on the table anyway. But there was some cunning play, using pile-in to separate your unit to go towards 2 different opponents.
I think it's not actually rules legal.
What to you can pile in? Go on.
Because the core rules say that if you can't make a move in a way that you maintain coherence, then you can't make the move.
Yeah, no, he did remain coherent when he made the move. Sorry, I think I've kind of talked that through. He removed a casualty.
Yeah, all right.
In an intentional space. And wiped off a couple of guys to make sure the one last guy could get to it, sort of thing. It was because he needed to continue to pile in the following turn, because he was still in combat, but he had to kill. One of his guys died, and he had to kill 2 others, leaving 1 facing off against my final Rune Smiter. Now, everything on paper says, I'm going to kill them. And that did 2 things. It denied me the objective, because it was now contested, when we went into my turn. And if he killed him, he would then gain the 4th and 5th turn points from it. So there was some solid tactical play in there to make it happen, but it was good fun. Right. I tell you what, let's jump to the chat briefly, and then maybe we'll jump back onto things like ChillCon and a little bit about the website. Because we've spent a good half an hour or so talking about Warhammer, which is, I think that's pretty much what we said on the packet, wasn't it? So let's jump in there. What have we got? Furious George simply goes for Rusty Spoons. Elston Nation saying good evening. Elston, I was giving you a shout out earlier. Working like a beast you were at Chilcon. Rogel Dawn, what chapter are you painting? I think that's probably them, hopefully Imperial. So that must be talking to somebody above, I think, because none of us have mentioned we're doing Marines, have we? Although I am doing Marines, but yeah, pass. Don't know. Is that for somebody else, Rogel Dawn? And it's nice to have a Primarch along as well, because I know that the Primarchs watch this show. You know, well, that certainly those of them that are still around. Paul Collier, base is done and the models have gone to Stratford store for competition. I'm going to get myself over to Stratford. Oh no, I've got to go to London tomorrow. That's not going to work. Vaughn Killian, just added my Dreadnoughts. Woohoo! I don't know whether you've added it on Facebook or the forum. Let's refresh and see if it's the forum. And possibly not. Nope. So it must be Facebook. What else have we got now? Moogie Pie corrected me with Arch Regent. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And the noble knight ascent to Azir after death. They don't know what you mean. Oh, bless. Of course, Flesh Eater Courts are all quite confused about what's going off in life, aren't they? Bless them. They all think they're the good guys. Which, you know what? They are the good guys. I've decided they're the good guys anyway. And CM saying, yes, I'm replacing all the flying bases. I find the connection to the models to be hopeless. That's the thing for me. I want them to be solid for battle. So much so that when I'd completed all but the final tail of the shark, I actually poured resin on the inside of the model before sticking the shark tail on, just so I had a solid model to pin into as well. So I wanted to make that as strong as possible.
Not about throwing them at.
You've not seen what it's like to play against Jack consistently, Coleman. Oh, somebody's sorted tridents out for him as well, which is good news. Dave says, quick question. For ultramarine pistol handles, what GW colour would you paint them? Ammo pouches are meant to be Abaddon black. White and off-white for edge highlighting. You know the pistol handles? Yeah, you know what? I quite like the white and off-white. You could go almost as if they've got ivory grips, couldn't you? I mean, that's a very 40k grim darky thing. Personally, I've always done them black. Because, but I suppose if you're wanting them to stand out from the holster, go with a bit of colour. Ralph, come on, choose a colour.
I'd go high contrast. Is what I would do.
So you go with a white sort of pearly.
Yeah.
Pearly grips.
Emerald style. That would do me.
And I'd ask Coleman, but it's not a question that involves dwarves, so he won't participate anyway.
Me, I just put leather on.
Nice one. Just like a solid dwarf would.
I'd bring that stuff if I could.
Okay, I tell you what, it's on the Facebook page, so and this is from Vaughn working on his Dreadnoughts. Oh wait, no, is this Chris actually?
It's Vaughn.
Either way, it's Vaughn, Chris. I'm not quite sure. Well, someone called Chris. Wait, hold on. Oh, Facebook versus YouTube personas. That's the challenge, isn't it? Hold on a minute. We're getting there. Here we go. No, here we don't go. Here we do go. We've got some lovely looking Dreadnoughts going off. Nice bronze effect, which is looking sweet. I'm loving those icicles on the base there. And I love soft snow. I'm all for it with the soft snow. I like that effect, the idea of waving through powder. You can always tell, because everybody who does snow in the UK essentially does mud with some white stuff on top, because that's what we get when it comes to snow. But you can always see people from countries that have proper snow, because they do nice powdery snow. So there you go, it's looking good. I quite like, is that a little bit of snow on top as well? We just don't get proper snow. I had some friends visiting from America last week actually, and they were saying, "What's the snow like? Where do you go skiing?" And it's like horrible and never in the UK. So there you go. Okay, right, where are we? Oh, Dave's got a life or death question for Coleman. This looks dangerous. I don't like putting things like life and death situations into a hobby show, but let's do this. Dispossessed Thunderers or Quarrelers? If you had to choose one, which one and why, says Dave.
Well, depends how many points you've got. You want to do them. If you're happy to keep them safe from melee, although they will get shorter range, but if you've got more than 20, then they will be hitting on threes, wounding on threes. If the situation is that they might get into close combat, then quarrel 20 up. They will get 2 shots each. It's gonna be 4 up, but in 4 up. So yeah.
Hold on a sec. So you're saying completely situational on how you intend to use them. So what role do you want them to play in your army? Yes, is that what you're saying?
If they, if you worried that they might get jumped in, their quarrels probably will get a little bit back. If you want more reliable shooting, then it's 20 plus unit, and you will hitting on threes, wounding on with minus. But at shorter range, I think it's 18 inch for Thunderers. 20.
Well, I hope, Dave, that answers your question, because that's the most sense Coleman's made in some time when it comes to talking about dwarves. So appreciate the effort that went in there. I'm getting my own back before my voice goes. Excuse me. Big Rich says hi all, and Vol says needed a high contrast of the red colour palette. So the snow bases, good call, because they look absolutely stunning. I tell you what, while I'm still here as well, I'm just going to pop along back to the Facebook group because, or at least I thought I was going to. Yes, I am. Stuart Gately posted back in the 16th of March, so all the way almost 10 days ago now. I love this Gutbuster is done. I love the base is worked on. It's very cute. So he's a real sticker. It's got a big long stick, nice bit of flint on the end, and a good old club for sorting things out. So happy looking chap, and it's nice to see Gutbusters / Beastclaw army going off as well. So Jack keeps pushing that temptation to go Beastclaw. Bunch of stuff Frank Storm as well working on. You know what? There's been a lot going off on the Facebook group, which is kind of nice to see those progress shots. I'll tell you what, here's a question for people in the chat. Should we get a little bit more serious? Oh, let's get everybody back in. Should we get a bit more serious with the Facebook group and get a bit of structure in there? You know, I think back in the day, and I don't think they'll ever admit to this, but on one of the big Facebook groups, which I can't remember the name of it, it was like 40k or something like that, I coined the phrase Whip Wednesday. And they stole it for the group. And I've noticed now when I've looked around groups, Whip Wednesday's a thing.
It is.
I feel like I should have trademarked that.
It very much is on Twitter.
It's annoying. It's annoying. I invented that, but you know, what can you do? What can you do? I'm never going to make a penny off of it. So, should we get a little bit more structured with the Facebook group, or are you happy people just coming along and posting stuff up? I don't mind either way. What I would love people to do, though, definitely, is to pop along to the forum and get some posts on the forum. There has been a steady group of people who constantly post on the forum. And I was actually looking at it. I think some of the stats on the forum, there is, if I can scroll down to the bottom, well, 424 topics, 3,000 posts. 1,200 members, so get posting. It's a nice group. One of the benefits of the forum, as I slip into sales mode, not that you actually have to pay for the forum because it's free to anybody, but one of the benefits of the forum is we actually host images, so you don't have to post your images externally, you don't have to put them anywhere else, you can upload them directly onto our servers, and I pay all those pretty pennies, sponsored by some of the premium memberships, which means you don't have to think about hosting your images elsewhere. The real benefit of that is when you post up, the quality of those images are much higher than what Facebook stores them. So we store the full resolution. We do a little bit of compression, but we store the full resolution. So those images are there in their full glory, which I think, to be honest, it's really sometimes hard to get a decent image on on YouTube to kind of see what the work looks like. So it's quite nice to have the option of storing your full images somewhere. So there you go. That's me doing a little bit of sales and trying to get people to come along to the forum and be nice and support us with content, as well as wonderful chat and fun and views and clicks and likes and stuff. Okay, terrible painting Tuesday. Whip Wednesday sounds fun. I kind of terrible painting Tuesday seems a bit harsh. Right, we're gonna do it. Derpimus Maximus, I paint terribly on any day ending with a Y. Oh, Derpimus, don't do that to yourself, mate. We're all just in this. If you're having fun sticking paint on a model, that's the start and the end of it all. And as long as every model you do is a little bit better than the last one, I think that's the thing to strive for. It's the best way to go. I've slowly been trying to learn glazing. I've always been a layer painter, and I've always cheated a lot with the airbrush to create gradients, and spending a little bit of time with the marvelous Judge Gudge and you know, Elstonation and people like Moggy. But I have to say, Mr. Gudge is the super glazing and all the rest. So I've been following his technique from what I picked up at the last ChillCon, and then annoyingly he wasn't using it at this ChillCon. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean there's an alternative technique? I thought this was the only way to success. So it's disappointed me a little bit. It feels like he's only told me half the secrets to successful painting. Right, okay, Shame Tuesday. You can only show it off with shame on the Tuesday. Paint it badly in anticipation for the day. What? Intentionally paint badly? Okay, Mold Line Monday. That could be down for, you know, what you're building. I like that. I think we could live with that.
And we've all been there.
Yeah. There's nothing worse, is there, than you've got the primer on, you lay the base coat down, you still haven't noticed it, and it's only when you put a wash on or a glaze, and suddenly this mold line's about 1/4 of a millimeter high, and you're like, how did I not see that right up until this stage?
Just use very thick paint in that case. Just saying.
Try again Thursday. You can't fill a mold line in with thick paint, Ralph. Back off.
I can. Trust me, I can.
That's a t-shirt, if anything. Trust me, I can. Flipping Egg Fridays. There you go. That would be pretty cool.
Lazy Sunday painting. I'm still holding it up.
Lazy Sunday painting. I have to say, I'm a bit disappointed with my progress on the Island of Deepkin. I know I'm doing some big stuff, and these parts were made, so they've got battery packs in both elements. So from a gaming perspective, you can actually split these to be the 2 terrain pieces if you want, and it gives you some options on the size it takes up on the board. So I needed to light the 2 halves separately. So I'm pretty pleased with I've got a feeling I've spent too long on them already. I mean, they're terrain pieces that give me a 6-up ignore if I'm within 6 inch. I think that's it. That's it. That's all I get. They say you have to do many layers to get a darker glaze, but that's not true with GW Gilliman Blue glaze on top of Crag Blue darkens it instantly with the first layer. So there you go. Yeah, you can do lots of tricks. Go on.
It is a quite intense glaze. Yeah, I've been using it for the on the Caradon, you know, the glow in the packs, and I actually had to thin it.
It's up there with the oh, help me out here, Ralph. Scale color. What are they called? The ink tensities. Yeah, it's up there, isn't it? It's definitely that level of pigment in the Gilliman Blue. I mean, if you've not checked out, if you like strong glazes, or at least the ink tensities from the scale color ranges, yeah, they're almost nuclear, aren't they?
They're inks, though, Phil.
They are.
And
Yeah, but to be honest, Gilliman Blue's not far off an ink. To be honest, I think I don't. No, I don't care what I know they call it a glaze, but feels very inky once you get that out the bottle.
Well, the thing that you need to remember in this case is then just some flow improver. Thin it down with some flow, a drop or two of flow improver, thin it down.
Lamy and medium, of course.
Wipe your brush.
Lamy and medium, of course, as well, will also kick off some of the gloss and keep it matte, which is always a winner as well, because it saves matting everything down to the extreme at the end. Liquid green stuff, says Derpimus Maximus. I'm assuming that's referring to Mold Line Monday. Dave says they say no, wait, I've read that one. Deffy the Defiler says hello, guys. Is that hello, Deffy the Defiler? Can that really be the real Deffy the Defiler, or even so, it's good. If it is you, mate, hello. Thank you for joining the show and having a chat. And even if it's not that Deffy the Defiler, if it's an independent Deffy the Defiler, you're welcome on board, mate. I tell you guys something. I did a Zenithal Prime on my Ultramarines and tried to make a glaze out of MacLeod Blue using Liquitex Glaze Medium, and no sir, that MacLeod Blue is so opaque you cannot make a glaze out of it. So there you go.
Surprised me because the Liquitex Glaze Medium is made for heavy body acrylics. It doesn't work with miniature paints. Not well.
Apparently it is the real Deffy the Defiler. I mean, yeah, I'm honoured to have the real Deffy the Defiler along. Many a times I've been watching a bat rep and screamed in happiness when Deffy's done something epic. Okay, right, we're into the last 10 minutes of the show, guys. We were going to talk about a few things. We were at ChillCon this weekend. I haven't covered that yet. There's a couple of really nice stuff on the table here. I think the main thing I want to draw attention to, and what I'm going to do is, give me a second here, chaps, because I've been messing around with all the cameras, and I'm going to zoom in there. And this is the Dwarf, Queen and King from Atlantis Miniatures range. I did a review of their dwarves recently. They've got help me out here, Coleman, because the set is called, there's a specials set, is that correct?
It is.
Yep, so there's a specialist set which has got all sorts of wonderful characters, like the barmaid. Dwarf specials. Okay, so it's got a barmaid, it's got like a musician, a whole bunch of amazing little bagpipe player in there and everything. I'm on record of this. I think these are some of the most characterful dwarf models out there. And believe it or not, I mentioned my wife came along. I knew I'd break this if I zoomed too far, but these models really can stand close scrutiny, so that's what I'm trying to show you. My wife, who came along to ChillCon, she's asked me to make a diorama out of these two models. So this is what I've decided to do. I date back to the old school dioramas that you see in Warhammer World. Things like the one with the Emperor and Horus battling it out, and then the old ones of the Skavens in the caves and all the rest. I love those 2D sort of triptych dioramas, essentially presented almost in a picture frame. So I've decided to do a dwarf hall in a picture frame with the king and queen sat on their respective thrones. I think I'm going to have a matriarchal society, I've decided. I think the queen's in charge, seeing as though my wife's asked for this little diorama to be made. And then I'm going to use the specials unit as people hanging around the throne room, if you like. And I have also the female dwarf unit, which are warriors. So I'm going to have those as a personal guard. And I've got to fit all of these in a little 30 centimetre by 30 centimetre picture frame. So that is my plan. That's what I'm going for. So I'm quite looking forward to that. But enough of what I'm going to do with them. Just check these incredible miniatures out. They are absolutely beautiful. And the character in their faces. And I know beardless female dwarves is a controversy. I understand that. But I think in the world we live nowadays, we need to accept more. And I'm prepared to accept beardless female dwarves. I think they look fantastic. You know, it's one line in Lord of the Rings. That's it. That's it. You know, it's a joke by Aragorn. after that, you need to make your own mind up. I'm happy with that.
I think Cratchit covers that in far more detail.
So if you want to understand, you want to see these models, they're only £10 each, which is an absolute bargain. Coleman, you've been there, and you brought me a little care package post my spine operation. And I was having I was having a tough old week, and I'd just been visiting a member of family who's terribly unwell, and so I'd had the operation and I'd done that, and then you showed up with a goodie bag full of wonderful little chocolate bits and stuff like that to cheer me up. So in return, I gifted you a set of the dwarves as well. So I'm expecting you to get them painted at some point, Mr. Coleman.
Oh, there will be. There will be.
But they're beautiful. They're beautiful, and I'm looking forward to doing my little terrain. Go on. Sorry, Coleman.
Yeah, and that's why I've left the hall with more than just these two in the end.
Yeah, what did you go with? Have you got the unit there?
Yeah, I've got them on the desk.
Can you just hold the front of the box up or to the camera? Is that all right? So people can get an idea. Just give us a turn so that that's it.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a full.
That's the specials.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
They are stunning.
And you know, whilst there was, sorry, go on.
Yeah, just, you know, if you do that diorama, and it's nice, and it finds my acceptance, I'll give you a bottle of my mead.
Oh, I did come home with 2 bottles of mead from Chilcon as well.
Mine's better.
Is it better? Is it? Well, then I'm getting on that diorama as soon as possible. So yeah, I came home with 2 bottles of mead. I had to confess that it seemed to suit the beard. The wife stopped me at buying the horn to drink it out of, though.
On that note,
I'll leave you on there. Mr. Brock says, after seeing the review, I had a look at Atlantis, ordered those models, and I find myself in love with these dwarf models, currently painting the armored bear and rider. Oh, look at that. Does it have a stand? Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Coleman. Nice horn, mate.
Is that a litre in there?
That was a present from my good friend Lee. Who is AOS sparring partner as well.
Excellent. So where are we at? I think we're coming into the closing minutes of the show. I'm just having a quick flip round. Did I talk about... I think we said tonight's show, it was pretty much agendarless. We were just going to chat about Warhammer and what's going off. Chilcon was amazing. If you missed the Derby... if you missed the Sheffield one... The Derby one is coming up. I don't know the date, and that's a criminal, but I'll make sure. The Chilcon guys always...
October last year, wasn't it?
October. Well, the guys always post on the Wargamer Online community Facebook page anyway, and I'll make sure I get a page up on the website as well. Because, you know, now that the website is on new hosting and running like an absolute dream. You know, the best thing about the website as well, I'm really pleased with it, is how well it behaves on mobile. I was on the train for a couple of hours the other day, and I was just going through some of the old painting tutorials, seeing what we'd covered and what gaps we want to fill with some more basic techniques and stuff. And the mobile experience is brilliant. Say it's fully web-based. It's I'm really pleased with that. What are we looking forward to seeing at Adepticon? Adepticon, rather, coming through from Defi. You know, Coleman's going to glaze over at this point because he's an Age of Sigmar guy. Although we'll get some news out of Adepticon, surely. Ralph?
I think we're gonna. I'm looking forward to getting more information about Warcry, because at the moment it's all a bit fuzzy. Information's out there, and there's a lot of controversy about the game that spreads throughout the community, and I don't think we've got enough information to make up our minds whether we're going to like it or not. But it was announced that Gamma. Probably we're going to hear something about some more about Warcry, because they said at Gamma that over the next couple of weeks you're going to get more information. I think that's on Wednesday's preview. I think we're going to get some more information.
I think
from
people are
Warcry.
very quick. People are very quick to judge. I mean, if you
Yeah.
cast your memory a little bit further, a little bit back. The Malign Portents announcement, everybody was totally underwhelmed. At the back of it, we got Soul Wars, so wait and see,
Exactly.
Yeah, I think for me, you're right. I'm reserving judgment on it. You know what? I don't mind it. I don't mind if it goes down the Necromunda route. I think I'll be okay with that. I'd still be willing to give it a try, because let's face it, painting a Chaos Warband is something I haven't done, and it probably would give me that excuse to say just go out and do that, and have some fun within that game. And I'm more about the models anyway, so and from what I've seen of the models, they're looking pretty damn exciting, so that's good for me. I have to say though, I think the thing I'm really interested in hearing from a Sigmar point of view, I'd like to see what's happening with some of the grand factions, if you like, the books. Whether we're going to see, Fire Slayers as a new battle tome, or whether we're going to see some combined factions. Are we going to see a Dwarf Grand Order book or something like that, a Grand Faction book? Because they've kind of hinted at both of those things, and it's pretty unclear what's going to happen. I'd love to see the first one of those announced, just so people have got a lay of the land to see what's going to happen, and we can see what's going to be happening in Sigmar in terms of battle tomes throughout 2000 and the rest of 2019. I'm with you on Warcry. I want some information on that. And then I think from a 40k point of view, I kind of, Vigilus is at the end of its campaign. We've seen those incredible Chaos models, which are just absolutely beautiful. The set, the Shadow Spear set, I had to look up because it's on the shelf up there. The Shadow Spear set is one of my favourite sets I've received to review, and it's just a stunning set, so jam-packed with great models. I want to see where Vigilus, how much further it goes and whether it closes down, but I'm kind of hoping that we see what's beyond Vigilus, even if we get some hint of what's beyond Vigilus. Sorry, go on.
I think that's a bit early.
I know, it is.
I mean, it literally went on pre-order on Saturday, so...
I know. It's probably... Hopefully there's some new Chaos models, which I'd like to see even more extended out, but if there is, we've seen the preview battle tomes now. How can I say that? The preview codex. We know what's in there. We know what's in the Vigilus box, so I'll be surprised if we see many more models, but some hint of the future would be cool. And then rounding back to Sigmar, of course, what's going off under, in the vaults? So,
the Stormhost.
Yeah. Is this a undead Stormhost? Is this a, envisaging of the Tomb Kings, or who knows? I mean, we were at Warhammer World. I was at Warhammer World with Jack the day before my operation. Because I was going in, as I said, for this spine operation. Jack was off school for half a day, and he said, well, what do you want to do the last, because it sounds really morbid. There was some risk involved in this operation I needed to have. And he was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, there's only one thing, isn't there? We're going to go to Warhammer World. So we just jumped in the car and charged up there. And we met with a couple of guys from the community team. We had a quick chat with Rob Alderman, who's picked up the leadership, if you like, of Lord of the Rings, and exciting conversation with him over lunch. He didn't reveal anything, so don't ask, but we were just talking about the way Lord of the Rings has evolved and how it's changed, and it's an interesting game. And we filmed a battle report with Rob before he started with Games Workshop, which will be going live shortly on Premium. He's checked that with Games Workshop. They're happy with that because we filmed it before he started. It's a great game. So I'd like to see some... I kind of wouldn't mind seeing some Lord of the Rings stuff as well. But what we did do was go around the exhibition hall, and this is what's got me thinking about these old school dioramas, because all the old stuff there from 2nd edition, 3rd edition, and even the Rogue Trader days, you know, the orcs in combat in the Underhive. If you guys are familiar with that diorama, that's what's got me thinking about that. So, yeah, just more, please. More is what I want from Adepticon. And I want to know everything that's going to happen in 2019, so I don't have to guess anymore.
Who doesn't?
I'm cool.
By the way, here's a shout out to G-Dubs from my end. I was one of the few people probably who bought a digital version of the Heretic Codex back in 2016, something like that. And I was really nicely surprised that I got an email from G-Dubs a couple of days ago that I will get a fully updated copy of it on March 30th with the new edition of that codex, which is something, to be fair, we've never seen G-Dubs do.
Yeah. That's big news we haven't really covered, because that kind of surprised all of us, didn't it? And we haven't really talked about it on the channel. But to have a 2-year-old codex, rather, I can't believe I'm doing that. 2-year-old codex, where you've received a free update because it's had an update within a single edition, was the only thing we could think was a differentiator for it. Yeah. Yeah. That is great.
That is great added value to the digital version. So kudos to G-Dubs.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they were to roll over that kind of customer service into, FAQ updates, general handbook stroke, what's the equivalent for 40K? Help me out.
Chapter approved. Get
those updates rolled out into the digital versions, and you've got a real added value to those digital versions.
Agreed.
And people will probably be more incited to buy them.
Yeah, sorry.
A few weeks ago, when we were talking about, we would like to be coming up with, we were discussing the idea of having a reliable sort of subscription service when within that subscription you get all the updates. We can't be the only people who would love to see it. We can't be the only people who said it. Maybe it is a sign.
I hope so.
Hope they listen to us. You never know.
Okay, well, we're running a little bit over, and I've got 4 1-centimeter size holes in my spine, so at some point my painkillers are going to run out and it's time for me to lay down, which is probably about now. So I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. Big thank you to everybody who came along tonight. Defy, if you want to see Defy in action, don't forget to check out Mini Wargamer, because those guys are always pumping out the best content out there, and Defy does some amazing action on there. He does actually go on to say Warcry, yes, but don't forget about Forbidden Power trailer, which I think we did roundhouse on in the end, didn't we? We got there with the Forbidden Power. Forbidden Power is the new whatever's going off down there, yeah? That's correct. Okay, and David Ellis, 636, has joined us just at the last second. Hey, David, I can't remember because it's been a while, but are you coming to the doubles in June? If so, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And if... I can't remember whether you are or not, but if not, I hope to see you there. The generic old orcs are no longer on the website, so perhaps them for the next battle tome. That would be sweet. Jack is currently working on a Free People's Army, and a lot of people have dismissed that range on the basis that, well, those models are extremely old. But you know what? From a stylistic point of view, he's really been enjoyed painting the handgunners. He's had a lot of fun. He's had a lot of fun with them.
I've got something to say on that, because when you look at them, people have what people have in mind is the paint scheme. If you put a completely different, you don't, if you stop mimicking that mock medieval paint scheme on them, it will look very, very different.
The weapons look great. The sort of old flintlock rifles and stuff like that
Yeah.
look amazing. Right, we're going to say goodnight before we drift off into a sideline.
Yeah.
Deffy says, see you guys later. Cheers and be safe. DJ the Lucky One says goodbye. David Ellis says, I'm at the Grand Tournament in June. Oh, well, you've moved up in the world, and that's good for you. All right, we'll say goodnight to everybody, and we'll see you again next week, hopefully. See you soon.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.